Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's time for our March TBR Game and Hopefuls video. As always, we start off with my Bible reading and leadership-based books. So first off, for Bible reading, I read 4 books of the Bible last month because I am trying to emphasize reading the actual Bible for what it says and not only focusing on devotions. I mean, I go back and forth with this, but I really want to make sure that I am reading and studying the Bible. I wasn't great at it in February, but I did finish 4 shorter books. I finished Mark, Jonah, 3rd John, and Philemon. And the next one is Nahum, which is a 3-chaptered book, and it's actually kind of a continuation of Jonah in a sense because it's talking about Nineveh. So I think that'll be really good to continue on with that story. Then I will be continuing the amazing Immeasurably More Bible study. This is a word study focused on the book of Ephesians, and I'm loving this deep dive. This month, we've already talked about wisdom and started talking about grace, but this month we will continue talking about grace, talk about confidence, peace, and love, I want to say, is what we're going to talk about. So it's all about what Ephesians talks about, God's grace, confidence, peace, and love that he gives us immeasurably more than anything that we ask or think for. So it's been so good. I did not finish A Holy Pursuit like I was planning on, so I really do need to get back to this and try to finish it up in March. The cover definitely gives March vibes. Not a huge fan of this book, but I am going to try to finish it, and then me and my friend will finish our buddy read and hopefully pick a better book next time because neither one of us is loving this. As always, I will be continuing to read sections of Gospel-Centered Kids Ministry every Saturday night. I was going to say Sunday night. Every Saturday night to prepare for Sunday mornings, I always read a section of this to kind of give me a kingdom/biblical focus for teaching. And then my Lent devotional, I did get a little bit behind on this, but I have caught back up. It is From the Grave by A.W. Tozer. I've read this before, years past, but I love it, and I'm so glad to be rereading it. It's amazing to me how even if you've already read one of these devotionals, you could read it years later and it'd still be just as applicable, if not more so, than the first time that you read it. That's how I'm feeling anyway. It's like every single day is exactly what I need, and I just love how God works stuff out like that, honestly. Love this. Also, can we just appreciate the pretty end papers and the fact that every devotional leading up to Easter has the stone rolled away? We love that. So I enjoy doing this for Lent. Lastly, it's not a devotional, but it is a workbook that all the leadership teams at my church are doing right now because we want to be focused on how to best communicate and care for the people that God has put around us. And we are doing the I Said This, You Heard That temperament personality study focused on how your wiring colors your communication. Okay, 12 challenge. The next thing that we'll talk about before we get into the TBR game, I'm actually going to switch the book that I'm reading for my 12 challenge in March. You can go back on my community page if you don't know what book I was supposed to read this month, but I am actually not going to read that book. From the reading blogs that I've watched, heard people talking about it, I flipped through the book myself, and if you saw my last little free library unhaul and haul video, you know I got rid of the book that I was supposed to be reading. And I am instead going to read Timeline, which was a 12 in 2022 challenge book that I didn't get to. So that's going to be my replacement 12 challenge book. I'm not changing any of the other books this year, but this one in particular is just not something that I want to be known for reading or that I want my channel to be known for. And I feel like it's a personal decision for everyone else. The Bible talks about like what is sin for one person may not be sin for another, but for me, I just don't think that that book is what I need to be reading. So I just decided to switch out the book, and I'm going to read one that has time travel elements, which I love, and that is Timeline. Let's get into the fun TBR game part. So if you don't know, I choose my TBR game books based off of the ratings that I rated books I read in the previous month. And what I'm doing to keep it more limited and easier to accomplish, although I literally did not accomplish my TBR last month, we don't need to talk about it. The rating for every single book, I use the rating bars. So like here you'll see I have 1 5-star read, 3 4-star range ratings. So that'll be 3 times we play TBR Trouble. I have 2 3-star ranges, so we'll choose 2 of these prompts. And then I have 2 2-star ratings, so I'll choose the lowest 2 rated books. The lowest rated 2 books on my Goodreads Want to Read list, and that no rating section I'm just going to ignore because I don't have an element of my game for books that I didn't rate. If you guys have an idea for how I should proceed in the future with no rating books, let me know. Come up with a new element to our game, but I don't have one right now, so I'm not going to try to make one up right now. Let's go ahead and get into the first part of the game, the heart box for our 5-star rating. Basically, I'm just going to draw a title, and if it's a title I've already read or DNF'd, I will just choose another one until I get something that I can read in March. So let's go with this one. What's that say? Okay! Yay! The Paid Bridesmaid. I actually did start that the other day, so I'm excited. Awesome! I'm hopeful that this will be a good one. I'm uncertain. It might end up being like an open door romance, which is not my fave and something that I do try to stay away from. But we'll see. I was enjoying this and interested in it when I started it. What video was that? I don't even know. I think it was a little free library reading challenge. But yeah, the Paid Bridesmaid, yay! So this section is if I land on a 2, this section's if I land on a 3, this section's if I land on a 4, and this section down here that you can't see, that section is if I land on a 5. And whatever section I land on, I'm gonna have to roll again, but they are perfectly even numbers, so this should be pretty straightforward. It is a, oh, and I forgot to remind you, if it's a 1, I read the oldest on my TBR. If it's a 6, I read the latest on my TBR that's on the TBR cart. The oldest on my TBR. Hooray. We're going to be reading about ethics. And I only kept this because it seemed interesting and I love these covers. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about these covers that I just love so much. But I do. I just really enjoy them and didn't want to unhaul them. So I'll be reading ethics. It's not a long book at all. It looks like about 150 pages. And I definitely have read this before in school. But yeah, we're going to get back into this. 3. Okay. This section, so that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, and then we'll roll between the 2. But it's a 1, so we read the furthest to the left, the oldest on my TBR. And this is actually a reread for me. I also read this in college, and it's Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. Yet another relationship book. Apparently I'm just reading all of them lately until I finish them, I guess. This proves to us that baby Sandra did tab a little bit. Really ugly tabs, but like tabbing nonetheless. I do love that book, so I'm excited to get back into that. Turn number 3. It is a 2, so it's the first section. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Whatever. And it is a 6, so the newest in this section, Gospel-Centered Discipleship. Now, I read this for student leadership in college. Wasn't my favorite book ever, but I'll always keep it just because that's what it's from. But we'll see if I like this, or I might end up DNFing it and just putting it back in my books that I've read collection. But gospel-centered discipleship. Let's go ahead, and I have to choose 2 of these prompts. And I'm going to go with this one first. What's that say? Longest book. Because apparently my TBR game hates me this month. I'm going to have to look on my Goodreads to figure that out. So I'll be back. I am going to count all of my books that I physically own. Technically, the longest book that I have physically is in the rollovers bag, and it is none other than The Two Towers. So that's interesting. In this edition, it is, no, it's not. It's not 725 pages. It's 725 pages. I mean, they're shorter pages. They're not like, it's not chunky. But yeah, 700-page book. I'm not intimidated at all, although I love this cover. Like, that's so cool looking. I love that. If I get to this, I want to be focused on it. I do not want to just like be listening, not really paying attention. I want to know what's going on. And I'm going to listen to it on regular speed instead of double speed. Even though I love double speed, it hits different when I'm actually paying attention. Okay. The Two Towers. Rotate. Let's find out what the other prompt will be. Oh, draw again. It says, I have no idea what that says. Audiobook or podcast. Ooh. I have Wistress. It's hard to say. Wistress as an audiobook. I think I'm gonna go with that because I would like to listen to that, and then I can go back and listen to Jordan at Bookish Gem and her friends talk about Wistress. I think that would be awesome. Let's do that one. So then for the lowest rated on Goodreads, I actually looked earlier, and the lowest rated, so the way that I do this is I can either read it, I can skip it, but I have to read the next lowest rated, or I can remove it from my want to read shelf. So for this part of the TBR game, I have to choose 2 because I had 2 2-star range ratings. You saw that earlier. The actual lowest rated book on my Goodreads want to read list is a book that was on my February TBR that I didn't get to. And instead of putting it in my rollovers bag, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right back on the TBR. And that is The Sisters Grimm. So this is the lowest rated on my Goodreads. I'm a little bit nervous. I got this for Christmas because it was on my Amazon wish list from a long time ago. Such a pretty cover. I am nervous if I'm gonna like it or not, but I'm just gonna put it back on my TBR for March, and if I get to it, I get to it, and if not, it'll go in my rollovers bag after March if I don't get to it. So, The Sisters Grimm. And then for the next lowest rated, it was a book called The Flip Side or something like that. James Bailey, I believe, was the author, and I was kind of reading through the description, and it wasn't really catching my interest anymore, and then it was saying, like a blurb said, for fans of Jenny Colgan and a couple other authors. If you know, you know. I'm not a fan of Jenny Colgan after the book that I read by her during Bookmas, so I just went ahead and I removed this one from my Goodreads TBR, so I'm just skipping that one. We'll have 7 books from my TBR game instead of 8, and I'm honestly okay with that. I definitely want to do like a little bit of a catch up with the Christian romance reading challenge that Oshina does, and then TBR knockout that Melanie from Completely Melanie does. I have a few books from those that I did not finish in January and February, as well as the books that I want to read for March. So for starters, we have, this is a library book, so I want to get to this one quickly. Then there was You. This was for the Christian Romance Reading Challenge, and for reading a book that is Christian romance from an author I've never read from before. So I definitely want to get to that. gonna go ahead and put that up there. And then for this month, for March, it has to be a book in a series. I'm kind of stretching this a little bit, but I'm gonna read one of the love-inspired books. I'm not sure which one yet. I have Her New Amish Family, like this Amish vibe. Amish woman nannying, I think. Totally here for that. But then also The Cradle Conspiracy. This is about a babysitter who the mom of the kid never comes back, and they find out that she's not who they thought she was, and they're both technically love-inspired books, so that's the series that I'm counting it as. I'm assuming they're romance. This one's probably more romance than this one, so I should probably go with this one. Let's do that. Let's do Her New Amish Family. We'll put that right there. That's for the Christian Romance channel. TBR Knockout last month, February, was all focused on like Black history, and I did not get to the book. I read the book that was by Black authors, and I did not get to the book that's about issues affecting the Black community. Still haven't finished Blackout by Candace Owens, and I really, really want to, so I'm going to put that back on the TBR. I'm going to be focusing on all those at the same time, hopefully in the same video. And then lastly, the one we've been waiting a very long time for me to actually finish. This month, it's all about like women's issues. I forget the prompts, but I'm going to use this book, Unplanned by Abby Johnson, for both of them because I know one of them is strong female lead. I mean, yes, if you know, you know. And this is definitely dealing with women's issues and just issues, life issues in general, so this is the one we're going with. So excited! Hopefully I'll actually finish both of those that have been on my TBR forever. That's gonna be good. So a readathon that I'm participating in March, the only one that I'm actually participating in is the Backlist readathon, and I know there are a few different hosts. I don't remember who they are other than Jackie from the channel Jacqueline. There are 5 prompts. Yes, 5 prompts, and one is specific to those doing the readathon from her channel, if that makes sense. First prompt is, I'm looking down at my notebook. Here we go. First prompt is a book that I wanted to unhaul. And I was gonna choose one of those for that, but since I already chose ethics, I kind of don't want to do that. Oh, at one point, I was thinking about unhauling this, but it actually seemed really good when I read the first chapter, first part in a try chapter. This sounded really good, so I'm going to count this for that. I put that on my TBR. Women in the Underground Church and Their Stories of Costly Faith. The next book is an author that you've read from before. I'm going to choose Relentless because I need to finish this. This was a book that my community group in law school was doing, I believe, the semester that I graduated, so I never actually finished it. I really need to, and I've read John Bevere's books before. Obviously, if you've followed my channel for any length of time, you know this, but I need to finish this one. I think this might be the last of his books that I have on my physical TBR that I've not finished. Is that correct? I don't know. I think so, though. I think this is the last one. Okay, for the next one, I'm going to probably have to look at the books that I've more recently hauled because the next prompt is favorite genre, which is either romance or thriller. I'm going to have to go look and see what I can find. Okay, this one's not super backlist, but it still is backlist nonetheless, at least a few months. And it is For Your Own Good. I have really been wanting to read this one for a couple months, so I'm going to choose this because it is thriller, right? Yeah. So, all I know about this is it's basically... Actually, I really don't remember. I know there's a teacher involved, and the teacher's, like, really messed up, so kind of scared, but also kind of want to read this. Like, really want to read that, so... For Your Own Good. The next prompt is a number generator. So I am going to go ahead, I'm going to restock this cart real fast and then number generate the amount of books that we have on here. Okay, so of those books, it chose this one, Called, which I picked up not that long ago in a little free library, but it was a couple months ago. I'm interested to see if I'm gonna actually enjoy this or not, but it's all about hearing and responding to God's voice, so definitely something that I would like to learn from. On to the readathon TBR. I gotta do a color wheel or a color generator, whatever. Okay, the book that I chose is very backlist for me, and I actually went with Heaven is for Real. And this actually, well, I don't know if it's going to show up as well on camera, but it matches the color that came up pretty perfectly. So I'm excited to put this on because I've wanted to read this for literally so many years, probably like 10 years. When did this come out? 2010, yeah. So 13 years I've been wanting to read this book. Finally gonna read it. Okay, next, you guys know that I usually choose an author for the month. I failed at last month's author. But this month, I'm going to be reading from Kristen Hanna. And I have 2 of her books on my physical TBR. First of all, I would like to finish a Bookmas book I started, Comfort and Joy. This was super quick moving and very interesting, so I really want to finish this one. I also have on my physical TBR Firefly Lane. Now, people say this makes them cry, and I don't like sadness, so not sure how I'm going to feel about this, if I'm going to get through it. The other book I'm interested in from her right now is Winter Garden, but I'm currently like 86 or 87 in line for the hold on Libby, so probably won't get to that, but these are the books I'm going to focus on. I think this is more than enough for what I'm planning for the author. I mean, I had this idea in my head that I would just like read like every book the author ever created when I did these videos, and that's not been the case. So I think 2 books is good to start with, and if I get to more, great. If not, this will be more than sufficient. Series you guys voted for. Fun fact, this is the first month that the one that was chosen is the one I was really wanting, so I'm super excited. You guys chose that I read One of Us is Lying in that series. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the first book, and then if I like it, I will continue on with the series. If I don't like it, that's fine too. But I definitely want to finish that first book for the video and then see where to go from there. But it would be really fun if I like that first book, because then I can, you know, go shopping for the other ones. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how that works out, but I'm excited because it sounds like a good series and a lot of people love it. So looking forward to that. Then of course we have Blind Date with Bookmas, which in February was a total flop. Yes, I'm wearing my pajamas right now. Please don't judge me. It was totally a flop in February, but that's okay. That means that most of the books that are wrapped up for the rest of Blind Date with Bookmas are books I'm excited for, so I'm totally fine with that. Another thing that I have planned for March is kind of a surprise, so I can't talk about it yet, but I'm really excited about it. I have a few different videos that are going to be more unique to kind of make up for the fact that I won't be doing my little free library haul and unhaul this month. It's going to go out in April. Even if I get to do it in March, it's going to go out in April. So yeah, I kind of came up with some other videos to put in its place, and I'm really excited about them, but I can't tell you what they are yet. So stay tuned. They're gonna be fun, I hope. I'm super excited. Okay. The last thing that I can tell you guys about is, of course, none other than choosing a book from the rollovers bag. Now, I don't have the books that I didn't finish in February in here yet because I still need to film my wrap-up short. So basically anything in here is something that I didn't get to in January. Fine with me. Let's choose it. First book that I touch feels like the one I wanted. Yes. We got The Christmas Wedding Guest. Now, I can pick this up and read this at any time, but it will definitely be, if I haven't finished it before I do my rollovers video, which I think might be next week. I could be wrong on that. Don't hold me to that, but I think I scheduled it for earlier in the month. If I haven't finished it by then, this will be the first book that I pick up in that video. But I can literally sit down and read this right now if I want to, which I kind of want to. I really want to know if this is one that I'm going to enjoy or if I just need to DNF it. I don't know, because I liked it at the very beginning and now I'm kind of like not sure, but we'll see. That's the TBR that you know about for March. It's only slightly crazy as ever. We love it. Like, for a lot of people, this would be overachieving for the entire year. And I'm trying to read all these in a month. Why? That's why this is a TBR game and hopefuls video. I hope to get to all of these. I doubt that I will. But as always, if I finish all of my TBR game books, I get a reward. If I finish all of these books, I get a reward. I'm just trying to reward myself. I doubt it's going to happen, but it could. You never know. It did in January, so there's hope. If you guys enjoyed this craziness, please give it a thumbs up. Comment below what you're excited to read in March and what you would like me to prioritize if I have the chance to do so. And subscribe if you are new here and you haven't already so that you don't miss all the craziness that's about to ensue in March when I try to read all these books. Okay, on that note, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will talk to you all next time. The next video is going to be Little Free Library themed, but not at a Little Free Library. Just stay tuned. I have to work it out, but yeah. A video will hopefully, fingers crossed, be coming this Friday. So, yeah. Alright, thank you guys for being here, and I will talk to you all next time. Bye!